lot of people are talking about Salisbury 9, Barry 7. A lot of people are looking at this score and saying, what the heck happened? Just give me your overall impressions. Salisbury 9, Barry 7.
Well, just flow of the game. So Salisbury kind of takes a little while to score, but they go up 3-0 at the end of the first 15 minutes. And you're like, okay, that makes sense. It's a little low. Like, it looked like they could have gone up a little bit higher, right? They could have had 5 or 6 in the first quarter. And then I think it started when a Barry attackman ran across the entire half line and smashed into an easy clearing Salisbury midfielder who wasn't paying attention. Barry got the ball back, got a huge long possession, and then scored 2 goals. And then I think the third period in particular, Barry just turned it on, man. They were great between the boxes. They were contesting every ball. They outshot Salisbury by a lot in that quarter. And it looked like Barry was ready to pull off the upset. If it weren't for, Salisbury's goalie, Brandon Warren, who had 17 saves, Barry could have easily won this game. And I think people, even if you're just looking at it by the stats, that will tell you a lot of the story. But again, I think and I said this previously when we briefly discussed it on the other podcast, is that I think Salisbury's talent won them this game, and that's it. Because I think they got outworked and outplayed in almost every other aspect.
Yeah, Kyle, we were talking on the Slack, and then I tuned in on my phone watching the live stream, and the thing that really struck me was just, Barry was the aggressor in this team. They seemed to be more physical. They asserted themselves. They were taking risks. It's rare to see Salisbury kind of back on their heels and another team physically just kind of dominating them. That's what really stood out to me. Where was that killer seagull instinct that we're so used to? Josh, you had some comments on this game as well. Earlier we were talking about the stats in particular and how they were so even. But what's your take from this result?
Yeah, at first when I saw that it was a close game, I think Salisbury's up by half, by 1 or 2, I was like, they're just kind of slow. It's their first game. They're getting their feet wet. They'll pull away. And then when you look at the end of the game stats, I'm imagining that Salisbury outshot them some crazy amount and Barry just converted at a really high percentage. But, ground balls were 38-36. Salisbury clears. Barry cleared at a higher percentage. Barry really struggled in the man up, going 1 for 6. Face-offs were even. Barry, like Kyle said earlier, outshot them 44-41. Face-offs are even. Barry had 1 more turnover. So when you look at sort of like the tail of the tape, this was a really even game. And if you took the Salisbury way and the Barry way, you would think this was like a Salisbury-York game or, not a team like Barry. And I'll give Mike Gilbert on our IT staff here a lot of credit. He mentioned before this week that he's like, dude, Barry's legit. They were 12-5 last year. They lost to CNU by 1, Colorado College by a couple. They had some good games. I think lost to Sewanee at one point, but they're an up-and-coming program from the Georgia area. It's the first game this season. I don't know how much stock that holds in terms of Salisbury moving forward, but they made a lot of mistakes for sure. And
Barry is, like Josh said, it's not like this is some program that's, this really bad lacrosse program that, Salisbury should have killed. Obviously, I think we all think Salisbury should have won this game a little more handily when you talk about the talent. But Barry's a good program, and they're well coached. Kyle, you know quite a bit about this team. What can you tell us about the way that they're coached?
Yeah, so the coach of Barry was actually the coach at New England College and coached my brother. I saw a bunch of games. They didn't play a ton of guys. He usually has like a nice stable that he runs through, especially in the midfield. He's very good at midfield substitutions, keeping guys fresh, and going at you the whole time. That's kind of his hallmark as a coach, is he wants a team that's going to go as hard as they can. And listen, this team went real hard. Earlier when you're talking about how the team plays man-to-man in the middle of the field, bumping guys off the ball, fighting for every single inch of the field, not just acquiescing to a ground ball, but actually going into it and fighting for every single inch. And that is something that you can't discount. If you're good off the ground, you're going to score goals because that's going to get you into good spots. That's one of the things that Barry is really good at, and we saw that against Salisbury, is that physicality. They were not scared, which most people are. So I think I give them a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, definitely. That's the poise that they had, and just kind of the like, hey, we know you're Salisbury, but we're still going to try to punch you in the face anyway.